Hey there, wedding planning friends, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, thanks so much for clicking on my video. I'm Emily Summer. I'm a wedding planner based in Montana, and I make weekly videos on wedding planning tips and advice. So I did a video a few weeks back about wedding websites you should know about when planning your wedding and resources that are helpful. And today I wanted to kind of supplement that video and talk all about wedding planning apps that you should know about if you are planning a wedding. There are so many resources when it comes to wedding planning, websites, apps, magazines, blogs, YouTube videos, so many resources to help you plan your wedding. And today I'm going to specifically talk about some of my favorites and some of the most helpful wedding planning apps I think are on the market for you. First one is Pantone Studios. So this is super helpful if you are trying to figure out a color palette. Maybe you've seen photos of colors that you like, but you don't know how to kind of pull that together and create a color palette from it. You can actually upload photos to Pantone Studio and pick out specific colors from there and create your color palette that way. And it's a great way to kind of see images together and see colors together and see how you like them together, and if the color palette in your mind or certain colors that you are thinking in your head actually look good next to each other. This can also be a super helpful tool when it comes to your bridesmaids dresses. If you're planning on doing kind of a mix and match bridesmaid dress situation, this could be really helpful. You can pull from photos that you've seen on Pinterest or on Instagram and actually pull out specific colors and give those to your bridesmaids to choose the color palette and the color scheme that you're going to go with for your bridesmaids dresses. Number two is probably the most obvious one, and that is the Knot. So obviously the Knot is a huge wedding resource. They have a printed publication, website, blog, Instagram account, and they also have a wedding planning app. And so basically the app connects to the website. So if you're utilizing theknot.com to kind of organize any of your tasks, utilizing any of their planning resources, or using their wedding website, then the app is going to be a great resource for you as well. Basically has everything that you need when planning a wedding if you don't have a wedding planner. So checklists, timelines, budgeting tools. Even if you do have a wedding planner, there's a lot of resources on the Knot that could be helpful for you so that you aren't completely relying on your wedding planner or not knowing what's going on in the background if you are kind of handing everything over to that person. This will give you a good idea of when to expect to be booking certain things, what to be doing during each time frame of your wedding. And like I said, budgeting tools to help you track your budget and stay on budget and see where you're at money-wise when planning your wedding. The Knot also has an option to live stream your wedding if that's something that you're looking into if you have a lot of guests that will be unable to attend. Now there are a few apps that are similar to the Knot when it comes to wedding planning resources and checklists and all that. So it really just depends on your own personal preference and kind of which one you like to use more, what kind of speaks to your app using preferences and kind of how you operate, whether that is in your work life or personal life or however. So I'm going to give you just some options and you can look into them and see which one works the best for you. So another wedding planning app is Wedding Happy, and works very similarly to the Knot, as it has a lot of checklists and to-do tasks and timelines and all that good stuff, but it will actually alert you when you have tasks coming up, which is kind of nice, so that you can stay on track of payments that are due, booking things during the right time, and all those fun little tasks. Trello is another one that can organize all of your to-do lists, and this is utilized a lot in business and in companies, and so maybe you're familiar with this from a work standpoint, but you can actually use it for wedding planning as well. And basically you can just organize all of your tasks, and it creates cards, so it's a little bit less overwhelming than just pulling up a whole checklist of everything that you need to do kind of from start to finish, and not a whole lot of organization there. With Trello you can set up cards that are each individual tasks, and then from there you can click on the card and it'll give you all of the corresponding timelines, checklists, due dates, attachments, contracts, everything that you can upload in there in these individual cards, and it keeps it just a little bit more organized for you. If you don't like either of those apps, Google Drive is also a super handy app that is great if you are sharing information with several different people. So if it's you and your partner and you want to be able to stay on the same page and have everything in one spot, you can share it with that person. Or maybe you have parents that are pretty heavily involved in the wedding planning process, somebody that is serving as a wedding planner, or anybody that you need to kind of all have on the same page. Google Drive is a great app for this. You can upload all of your contracts into one folder. You can upload notes to keep track of to-do lists and things that you need to be packing, or things that you have left to do, or things to ask your wedding planner, or things to ask your photographer. All those checklists can also be included in their own folder within Google Drive. And you can use Google Sheets to track your budget, and any expenses and spending that you need to be tracking can be all on there as well. So it's a great place to be able to keep everything in one spot, keep it nice and organized with folders, and be able to share it with other individuals that might need access to that information as well. Number 6 is Amazon. Amazon is very handy for a lot of different aspects of your wedding, whether that is finding wedding decor, items for your favors, extra cups or napkins, or anything that you need for your wedding, but it is also very helpful for registries. Amazon Registry is a great option to use when it comes to your wedding registry, as you aren't limited to just one store or one place that your guests have to choose from. Pretty much everyone uses Amazon, so it's pretty user-friendly for all of your guests to be able to find your items. And it'll also show a lot of popular and recommended items so that you don't forget anything that you might need for your wedding registry. Number 7, UberEvents. This is a super cool one, but it is not available everywhere. So keep that in mind, and you might need to do a little bit of research to see if this is even an option for you. But if you're in a larger city, UberEvents is a great way to transport your guests, whether that's from your ceremony to your reception site, or to your ceremony, or from your reception to an after party. And basically how it works is you can allot a certain budget and a certain amount that you are willing to spend on Uber, essentially, and they will create a promo code for you. Your guests will still book their Uber individually. They will book it for themselves based on when they want to leave, what time they need the Uber, how many people are going to be in the vehicle, and all that. So it's still on your guests. However, they don't have to pay for it. So you basically set a budget, kind of like a bar tab, where they will pay for it, and then however many Ubers it takes to reach that limit, all those guests will be able to ride for free to wherever they need to go in pertaining to your wedding. What's handy about this is you don't have to coordinate shuttle times. You don't have to worry about one pickup location if you have guests staying all across different hotels, Airbnbs, or if you're worried about everyone fitting onto one shuttle or missing the shuttle. Just a little bit easier. Guests can kind of coordinate their transportation on their own time, but still not have to foot the bill themselves. This could also potentially be a lot cheaper for you than renting charter buses or shuttles or taxis or valet services. So definitely something to look into if you're in a larger city. Number 8 is WebWed, and we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier with the Knot, but WebWed is a app solely for live streaming your event. So it offers a 360-degree view to your guests that can't be at your wedding that they can access via a mobile device. You can also send invites to your guests to this event so that guests that can't attend know this is an option and know where to find the video. And it also will be uploaded and archived for 30 days for you to download. So this can be a great way to include all of those guests that are unable to attend your actual wedding and still be able to be involved virtually. Number 9 is Burner, and what this does is it creates a temporary phone number that you can use, which is super handy if you're trying to communicate with guests, whether you're trying to get RSVPs. They can actually text that number to either decline or accept the invitation, and that way your personal phone isn't getting blown up with all of these wedding related things while also trying to track business and personal stuff and other items. It doesn't get lost in the shuffle of your cell phone. You can kind of have this separate number to keep track of all wedding related things. This is also a great way to collect wedding photos that guests took at the weddings and kind of share with everybody. And it can operate like a chat box, so if guests have questions about the wedding, they're not blowing up your actual cell phone, and you can kind of respond to these as time allows and be able to keep it a little bit separate. And finally, Facebook. Now, most of you probably have Facebook, or maybe you used to have a Facebook and you don't use it anymore. There is a feature called Facebook recommendations, which can be helpful when it comes to planning your wedding. And how this works is if you post something onto your Facebook asking for advice from your friends, so at least you're asking people that you know and hopefully trust, rather than just kind of looking for reviews from people that you don't know, or answers to questions from people that you don't know. You can actually ask people that you do know, people on your friends list, for recommendations when it comes to different aspects of your wedding. You can include the recommendations button when it comes to posting this, and Facebook will actually organize all these recommendations that you received based on the comments that you got and map it all out and keep everything nice and organized for you to make it a lot easier rather than having to weed through every single comment. So super helpful if you're looking for recommendations on certain vendors or maybe locations to have your rehearsal dinner or something like that. Like I said, there are so many resources when it comes to planning your wedding. These are just a few of the apps that I find super helpful. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe to get weekly videos on wedding planning tips and advice, and we'll see you next week.